Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's good to see all Guardians. My name's Andy. I work here at Bungie on the social media team, and we're coming to you live here from beautiful Bungie HQ in Bellevue, Washington, with an awesome stream to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what's to come with Act 2 of episode Revenant. But as usual, worry not. You're not going to just have to sit here and listen to me tell you all about it. We have some fine folks here from the Bungie development team to give you some of the finer points about what we're going to be looking at today. So, without further ado, I vote we go ahead and just dive on into the stream and get this moving along, because there's some cool stuff to show you, starting with a man that you may know very well. If you've joined us for our Into the Light streams, you've seen him in action before and played his content as well during that time. Associate designer here at Bungie,
Noah.
Yeah, great, Andy. Thanks for the introduction. I'm very excited to show off this Act 2 activity. I don't want to spoil too much. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, so hopefully players...
Prison of Elders.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. But before that, for anyone who may not have met you in our past streams, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so I, as an activity designer, it's in the name. We make the activities that players play, and generally everything that players interact with when you load into an activity is something that activity design has touched, whether that be the enemies, the faction you fight, like the encounters, the exact tasks that we're asking you to do, all the way to the objectives and directives, and just general the activity flow.
Nice.
We care a lot about all that, and there's a wide amount of activity designers doing a wide amount of content.
Yeah.
I have the pleasure of being the Act 2 content for
Very exciting. So not just Atlanta where the players play, but Destiny 2 as well.
Exactly. You know I'm from Atlanta, right?
No, really?
Yeah.
ATL in the building,
I was trying to
baby.
make a reference that aged me. That's very cool. Also, next to him as well, we're being joined for the first time by Associate Weapons Designer, the one and only Mr. Taylor Bjorndal. Taylor, how's it going today, man?
It's going great.
For those who may not have met you or
They got DMG up there.
Your raid group sitting right next to you, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, Taylor Bjorndal, Associate Web Designer. Been around at Bungie for quite a while, but somewhat new to design. This is my first release as designer. I did some work on the dungeon set for other weapons, and the Splicer and Garden reprises, and then a bunch of exotic changes.
Big excited to talk about the Splicer. So thank you for all your hard work on the Splicer stuff.
Nice.
And then next to him, a man that needs no introduction, a friend to all Guardian kind, but we're still going to introduce him anyway. Global community lead here at Bungie, Mr. Dylan Gaffner. Dylan, how's it going, man?
It's going great. I'm awake.
Yeah, a bit of an early morning for us here today, huh?
Yeah, but it was a nice early
complain.
morning. I'm excited for this. This is going to be a good show today.
No, man, and I'm very glad you're here. For those that may not already be following you on Twitter or haven't heckled you in the very same avenue for anything recently, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, I'm the guy that says we're listening. Ultimately, work with the community team, do a lot of the strategizing, looking at the forward-facing comms and all that, but then work with our community folks, our player support folks, and see what we can talk about when and work with these guys to get all the goods out and the comms straight. So.
Yeah, huge shout out to your compatriots on the community team, to Cosmo, to Bruno, to David, the whole crew.
Alex, Eduardo as well.
Thank you, that's right, lest we forget. All right, so we have a lot of stuff to go ahead and move along into. I vote we go ahead and start with you, Noah. Before we dive into the gameplay, just very briefly, we're now about to arrive in Act 2 of Revenant. Can you tell us a little bit about Act 1 and what got us to where we are today?
Absolutely. So as players know, we were tracking down House Salvation on Europa, and we ended up discovering that Fickrell has found a paracausal echo, and he's able to make newly Revenant Scorn from living Elixni as opposed to dead Elixni.
Yeah.
So we went across the system, freeing Elixni from the onslaught. The onslaught of Scorn hordes and, disrupting the Revenant Scorn nest all across the system. Now we're hot on Fickrell's trail, and we've found our way back to the reef. So, some Destiny players that maybe have a longer tenure
I remember the reef.
Might be interested in terms of reef-bound system stuff.
Very interesting, which I will say, very conveniently, excellent segue, thank you, leads us to our first batch of gameplay.
Exactly.
For, again, the Destiny vets out there, the Destiny 1 players who may be still with us as well, myself included, we are returning
Contest
to
of
Elders. From the
Elders.
Destiny 1 days.
Absolutely.
Noah, can you tell us what we're getting into here?
You said returning. I'd like to say this activity was reimagined.
Yeah.
Instead of it being the Prison of Elders from Destiny 1, this is now a Tomb of Elders. This activity specifically is Contest of Elders, actually. Now, I'm going to want the fire team to hold up a little bit because I want to describe it a little bit for the audience.
Excellent.
So if those who are familiar with things like Deep Dives or The Coil and Riven's Lair from Season 23, this is a similar kind of activity where it's a longer tail, more roguelite activity. one of our design tenets was we wanted to make it as variable as possible.
Yeah.
And we'll go into a lot of what makes it as variable as it is. But in general, it follows a lot of the beats from Prison of Elders and Destiny 1, which is, you go to arenas, complete encounters, and all this while the spooky, scary warden is kind of in your ear, kind of egging you on.
Yeah.
Instead of it being Varix, it's the warden servitor.
Yeah.
And players are trying to placate this warden rather than like rebel against him. So the more you do that he says, you'll actually get more loot, and we'll go into that a little bit more in the future.
Excellent. A lot of chances to test out your Varix impressions, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we'll hear a little.
Oh, yeah. Give it time. We'll get there. Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and kick things off. So with this,
Braun is
was
back.
it basically just bringing back kind of the activity from Destiny 1, same races, same bosses, and everything, or what were you guys
Absolutely
trying to
not.
do?
We wanted to. I think the key that I was really excited about was I had a rule which was we want to keep the best parts of Prison of Elders that people love, the most iconic aspects. So things like
Error, tomb
We
bonus.
might have some fan favorite taken bosses and other bosses that people remember.
Yeah.
But the main thing was being able to modernize it to not only the new Destiny sandbox that we have, but just the new vibe. We're in a vampire hunter season.
Yeah.
Why not go back to the derelict Prison of Elders and hunt more vampires?
Yeah.
And like you said about factions, in the old Prison of Elders, it was the Fallen, the Cabal, the Hive, the Vex.
Okay.
We don't have the Vex anymore. It's the Dread now, being led by some Taken forces.
Very cool.
Instead of the regular Cabal, we have the Shadow Legion. Instead of normal Hive, we have the Lucent Hive, and we have the Revenant Scorn instead of the Fallen. So kind of changed up all the races, and you'll be able to see it's really apparent when you go to their arenas since they're all themed based on the races.
Yeah. So I'm going to bug you about bosses soon, but can you tell us just a little bit about what we're seeing here, whether it's the modifiers or anything like that? I noticed there's obviously a lot of chances to test your skill here against the modifiers you guys have put in.
Oh, yeah. So we, for those who are familiar with the Legacy Prison of Elders, there were a bunch of modifiers that were on a rotation. Some were kind of beneficial, like Solar Burn, where it was like the enemies give you damage, but you can kind of deal some.
Yeah.
In this, all of them are not beneficial to you. And actually, as a quick segue, we saw Urrox there. He was an old Destiny 1 Prison of Elders boss, a Legacy boss.
Yeah.
And he's come back as a Lucent Hive Guardian, and we got some other few bosses who have come back from the grave.
Yeah. I mean, given that
Psylocke,
he's no longer just a
the
Hive Knight, he's
Defiled.
got both the big shields and everything, he's ready to go ahead and be brought back with the power of the light.
And that's just
some new
we
challenges.
have some UI too that we were able to bring back from the Legacy Prison of Elders. Every time you get a new modifier, it appears on the screen in the middle of the screen, and you're able to be like, oh, it's Chill Touch or it's Counterfeit.
Yeah.
Because we have some of the new modifiers that were in episode Revenant that are in here. We got Counterfeit. We got Haste. We got Brawn, if people have had experience with that, and a few other things like Chill Touch, Scrapper. Grounded, a few other things that kind of rotate around.
A lot of
Nice.
opportunities to get good.
Yeah,
Well,
opportunities to run around, grab your ammo, and then turn out it's a bomb. Oops.
I love that one. That's one of my favorite perks, actually.
that never happens to me all the time. No. All right.
It's really nice that it pops up.
Yeah, Chill Touch right there.
Yeah, I want to
know
shout
what you're
out.
getting into.
I want to shout out our engineering team for being able to bring this in, and our UI team for kind of everyone came together and had a strike force so that we could bring this back. It was no small feat, but I'm glad it works, as we intended it to.
No, we appreciate it. As someone who intends to spend a ridiculous amount of time in here, thank you, and yours for your hard work.
Absolutely.
Collect
So
Scorn
I'd like to talk about
explosives.
One more thing
Yeah.
in terms of how this activity is structured.
Yeah.
I'd say it's very close to Riven's Lair. For those who remembered, Riven's Lair, you kind of had a trap room, then an encounter, then another trap room, then a boss. And this is slightly more action focused, so we have, as we saw, that cryopod encounter first, then you'll have a faction encounter. It'll take you to a random arena throughout the prison. It's still shaped like the spokes, like in the original Prison of Elders. Then you'll have a
This one definitely looks like one of the original Prison of Elders
maps.
maps. It's a little bit different, but
run around the loop again.
Yeah.
In every single encounter, you're going to have a challenge, and for bosses specifically, you're going to have a critical objective, and that kind of all goes into like this in-activity reputation system that's called the Warden's Judgment. When you read the rules, for all my players who like to read, you can see what that is, but I know people
Reading.
don't read, so I'm trying to explain it the best I can.
Why were you staring right at me when you said that? That's so weird.
I don't read either.
That's okay. All right,
I literally will look at it and I'll be like, I don't care.
I'll figure.
Launch.
Yeah.
So the Warden's Judgment is a pretty simple but kind of complicated mechanic we have that's meant to address some of the feedback that we've gotten from the coil specifically. So for those who are very experienced with that activity, people were very much questioning how do you get to the wish chamber, like how many wishing glass you need to get, like if you felt like you didn't get the loot goblin, you were like, oh, I didn't get the wish chamber. We found out statistically that most people had already surpassed the threshold they need to get to the wish chamber, but it just missing out things felt bad, and it initially kind of like hampers your desire to keep going because you might be like, well, I don't want to get to the very end and see if I didn't get to it.
Right. Yeah.
So to address that, the Warden's Judgment is
Interesting.
kind of like a in-activity way to check how well you're doing. There will be a buff on the top of your screen, and it'll kind of dictate how well you're doing. So when you complete a challenge or a bonus objective, your Warden's Judgment will increase. It can get all the way up to favor times 1 to 3. If you do not complete the objective within the time limit, you will go down a level. And if you're in Warden's Punishment, the activity gets a little bit easier. We have less elites, less mini-bosses, and our high-value targets that are called model prisoners will be elites, and they give you a revive token on death.
Okay.
But the better you do...
Look how many revives they have. 24.
We'll have
That went above 20.
Increased mini-bosses, and when you're at favor times 3, the ultimate test, because you want to stay at that the whole time for max rewards, your bonus objective time limits will be reduced by around 30%.
Okay.
So some things may take, maybe you have 2.5 minutes to complete something, and then it becomes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or you have a minute and 30 seconds, and maybe it becomes just a minute, it gets a little bit tougher. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the core about this activity that makes it cool. People say that these activities kind of take a long time sometimes. You have 40, 50, maybe 60-minute activities.
Yeah.
The better you do, the Warden can actually allow you to skip an encounter. And we've had in playtests, we've had runs that can last 28 minutes, 30 minutes, and that's when you're going
reverse Wardens.
It's kind of promoting like maybe
One
you'll
in
get bad
nothing
luck and have some
mission?
bad encounters.
Sure.
But the more you run it, you'll get more experience. You'll understand kind of how the flow is, and you'll be able to get a lot of rewards really fast and kind of experience the whole prison of elders in this new light.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Build into it a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, to the community, what was that again? 28 minutes, you said?
28.
All right. When it comes out next week, the issue
They'll
has been
blow past
challenged.
that.
Yeah,
They'll
obviously,
blow past
No, I'm sure, but still, it's best to issue.
Wait,
challenge.
28 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Come
like-
on.
If you can solo it in under 28 minutes, I will give you a title that I bestowed of very few people. You will be that guy, and I will at you on Twitter or something.
All right, well,
Not in game.
Not-
This can-
not in game, not in game,
Yeah,
not in
this
game.
is just like a imaginary title.
Yeah,
We'll-
I made that up just now. Sorry.
He'll say it on Twitter. Blazing
On Twitter.
Muffins will give you a shout out on Twitter.
I almost had a
It's
bunch of
nice to have
people
the
going
opportunity to
for it.
sort of,
What's up,
I
Identity?
guess, if you're
Almost.
learning the activities, if you're kind of just getting beaten down a little bit, you have a chance to build yourself up a bit, kind of get a sense of the battle arena, the mechanics in place. That way, as you kind of build yourself up, that higher Warden's favor. There
Fire
are.
is actually showing one of my favorite features. Which
Please.
we tried to give every
Oh,
boss
no.
a cool intro. So this boss descends in from a thresher from the ceiling. So every enemy race has their own kind of mechanic. So the Hive,
Commander's
generally, their mechanics
Thresher.
revolve around portals in the arena.
Yeah.
The Cabal are all about getting these explosive charges and blowing up things that are like immune. We'll see the Dreads in a second, but the Scorns are about like getting these explosive.
Oh,
charges.
the damage is from the charges?
Yeah.
Internally, I like to call it the junkyard fantasy because like it's kind of like all junky and rusted and stuff.
Tinkering and putting it together.
Yeah, you put it together, and then it makes this really cool. Shout out Mikola for doing this. He also made Liminality Strike, so shout out to him.
Oh.
He made a really cool thing where like you see the explosion trail like kind of get to the big explosive. and
Like a fuse.
yes, it's so cool.
That's
No, I have to ask, why did it have to be a Thresher? Because I'm having some memories from Neomuna. This is scaring me already.
Well, Threshers are cool, and it's just, it's cool to have different boss silhouettes in Destiny. We don't often actually fight a Thresher as a boss, and the Thresher's not even the true boss, as we see a Scion and his Scion goons are the actual main bosses for this fleet. So this is like kind of the quasi mechanic there, where it's like, you start off, you gotta kill the Thresher, and then it's gone. We got like one of those.
This guy's gonna get consecrated and strand and sorted.
I imagine just that the unstoppable Thresher meme basically just popping up again,
no.
right? Yeah. So I mean, I gotta ask as well. Like this is an opportunity
Or that,
to kind of
just
bring back this activity.
Anarchy, or not, probably Witherhoard Sword or Anarchy Shoddy.
Yeah, something actually cool to show right here. Also.
Please, dive in.
So
yeah.
players are probably very much like, why is the screen green?
Fair.
So critical objectives have been massively increased in like complexity, I believe.
Yeah.
So every time a boss starts, there's just a timer ticking down that we're not showing you, and then a critical objective will spawn. If you complete them or fail them, your Warden's Judgment will react accordingly. But what we ask you to do for these critical objectives are much more dangerous than like our normal stuff, which is like maybe get kills with abilities.
Oh, I get it, because you're in the pool and you're slowly
a certain
dying.
level and below, all
Got
of it
it.
will be poison gas that does damage to you over time.
Yeah.
And the only way to turn it off is you have to turn off the switches that are also in the poison gas. So the Warden Servitor will be like, warning, poison gas or whatever. And when you come in and it's
You've
like, oh,
done that
God.
before. All right.
Yes,
That's
all the time.
Yeah.
I've been at home just like by myself, just doing a Varix impression, like to like nothing, and I'm like,
That's how I'm going to talk to my cat exclusively now. I can just tell.
I think he'll get a little scared though.
It's okay. He has to exist around me anyway. He's well prepared.
I just think of insect like chattering in the
Yeah.
subtitles. That's all I got in my brain.
Chittering, chattering. I don't know. It's
And we see the
insect
warden's office. So that's what I call. That's not what it's called.
Please,
But
the
that's what I like
principal's
to call it.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you complete a boss, you will get pulled to this chamber where the warden will reward you based on how well you've done. This fire team has done very well. So they get 3 chests, and you get a rally banner that allows you to. Like,
What's the max amount of chests you can get? I wonder. 5.
And as we saw, we have like judgment, calculating, punishment protocol, averted.
Look at that.
And the warden's punishment while
He's
he's judging you.
eating
is
up
like
a
kind of
refrigerator?
Monopoly style, like mini game. A punishment will happen. I don't want to spoil what that is, but I think it'll be very smart. But as we see,
Scrapper.
they were able to skip
Melee
the
attacks
cryopod
are
encounter
significantly
if you
more
were,
powerful.
Like at a neutral or below, you would have to do that cryopod encounter again. But our fire team is good enough to skip it. So if you keep that momentum, you're able to skip that encounter every single time and kind of go through the prison much faster than you would normally.
Yeah. All right, really quickly. Also, please feel free to keep jumping back in. I know there's a lot of stuff we're going to be checking out. But Taylor,
This is
I wanna quickly
Savathun
bug you,
Stone World.
with the arrival of Act 2, we're going to have a couple of new weapons, a few new weapons being added to the overall loot pool. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the new season, or pardon me, Act weapons, rather, that we're going to be having available to us?
Ah, he said
Yeah,
season.
sure. So we have like 2 new seasonal weapons or act weapons.
Got the SMG and the shotgun.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
There's an Arc Precision SMG, and then there's a
Attrition orbs, right?
yeah, attrition orb. Yeah, it's got a bunch of perk rolls on it, which we'll get to in a second, and then a Void Precision shotgun, which has some Dust Rock Blue jeans. If you
Hey, Dust Rock Blues.
if you we'll probably see the model in a few minutes, but
Yeah.
the resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool rolls for both of these, both for PV and
Yeah,
PvP.
let's take a quick look.
So this one's got
Noxious
the new
Vetiver.
resultant feedback. It's also got loose change, attrition orbs, and a few other things that really synergize pretty well. You can get like the jolt on and then loose change procs.
Yeah.
And it just loops into itself.
Yeah.
And then the shotgun.
Scavenger's
got,
Fate.
A bunch of rolls both for PvE and PvP.
Yeah, it
Slide
does
shot
look like
closing
Dust Rock
time.
Blues.
You can get Discord stabilizing rounds, and with the shotgun changes that we did in this release, it will probably serve you pretty well. in
Yeah.
places.
Having dusted off my 7th Seraph CQC, I want to say thank you
Ooh,
for those
classic.
changes, honestly. Yeah, never gets old.
It's nice how such a small change can actually make a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Especially when it's
Seriously.
like not even more damage.
Yeah. Also, with regard to the new shotgun, obviously PvE rather is going to get some nice buffs. You were saying the repulsor brace, volatile rounds.
Yeah.
Accept those. But
They have
anyway,
25
the
revives
PvP
in
we were
here.
talking about earlier as well. Like, it's going to have a lot of versatility in the same.
Oh yeah,
class.
it's got a lot of rolls, and it's
So in here you can have more than 20 max
popular for
revives.
PvP.
Yeah, been getting killed by
Is that a
lot.
thing anywhere else?
So in addition to these 2 new act weapons,
I don't think
getting out of the
so.
pool, there's also one of the reprised ones as well that I'm personally pretty excited about from Season of the Splicer coming back. Grid Skipper.
Yes.
Grid
Go-
skip off.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, I have a very personal connection to this gun, so it was like one of my.
I don't know why I
actually
thought
worked
Grid
on the-
Skipper was already
I
back.
worked on the original set of these.
Yeah.
When they first came out, but I did the rolls on these.
Let's take a quick
It's
look.
got some classics from the past, but also some new rolls. Also, it's got a lot of options for both PvE and PvP. Get some,
Splicer
some
Surge.
elements,
Reloading this
super
weapon after dealing
PvP
damage
probably
grants this
pretty
weapon
nice.
stacking reload and a handling
My
bonus
original
until
classic roll
stowed.
was Killing Wind multi-kill clip, which with the new Splice Origin.
But that
would
may
work
not be
pretty
too
well.
bad.
Yeah, I'm a compulsive reloader myself, so manning the pulse and getting that Splicer Surge going after a couple kills, it pretty much like negates the major damage.
Yeah, I can't think of anything in the game that has had more than 20 revives be max. I've seen them get up to 26,
Probably.
and it doesn't say max.
All
So
the people, you chose the legendary weapon instead. Good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. So,
So for
with the
context,
past, talking about if you could have one weapon made a replica, what would you want? A bunch of other people said exotic, and I was the guy that said Grid Skipper.
I mean, it's a great answer.
I love
Correct
this gun.
choice.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. There's no wrong choice in theirs, but yours was very correct. Let's be very clear.
Warden's
Couple new
favorite
PvP
times
rolls
2.
as well, but,
Yeah.
there's a lot to look forward to. I'm going to be grinding this a lot.
Yeah.
I want to interject real quick because we were at a good time.
Yeah.
So this is the fire team went through it earlier, but this is a traversal section. So these are different than how they were in the coil. I also want to shout out every player who died to my spike traps in the coil. I did that on purpose.
How dare
I don't
you.
feel bad.
There's a lot of grudges being built in chat right now in real time. It's,
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
you're like an evil DM, honestly. It's so
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not
Feel
fun
your
to them, but
ears
it's fun to
burning
me.
at like 2 a.m.
Calm down, man.
Screaming at my ceiling. Noah, why did you do that?
Exactly. I
just-
see all the comments and I'm like,
He just smiles. Yeah, he just feels better. Warms up his coffee. Yeah.
these are much shorter than they were in the coil, but their goal is in Contest of Elders specifically, not Tomb of Elders, which is like 1 lap.
Yeah.
These have their own challenges that players have to
Oh,
complete.
my
So for this one,
emblem.
It was complete kill every enemy, defeat every enemy that's there.
Yeah,
There's
their
some that's,
emblem
like,
chat. Let's
collect
go.
a bunch of like fallen lights. I can't remember what they're called. They're like energy signals, or like defeat a boss within a certain amount of time. So there's just
Yeah.
more things to kind of challenge you and make these, like transitionary spaces a little bit more interesting. And so we have like the piece de resistance right here. My son, everyone will be very excited to see this. This is one of my favorite intros.
The grand reveal. Yeah, let's see
Exactly.
here. And you were saying the Dread and the Taken are working together.
With Psylocke the
I'd say
Defiled.
the Taken are kind of taking the helm of the Dread right now, not because like they're
With
strong or anything, but because
Rather the
Psylocke
Disciple
is
stuff.
more experienced
Resonance
in
stacks.
He's he was a model.
Dunking it?
teammate,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they were like, we're asking from the best. All the warden likes him.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. He was always available for
In
for
a
1
pyramid
hour. He was hanging out
ship.
in the library, reading
Exactly.
up on the law, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing his
Yeah.
Yeah.
community service, all the works.
So what's the mechanic we're seeing at play here as well, by the
So
way?
this mechanic is a bad pun. So for everyone who loves Rift or really has even played Excision, instead of Spark Runner buff, it is Dark Runner, where you're picking up splinters. You're picking up darkness splinters that give you stacks of Dark Runner up to like ×3, where it'll say like Dark Runner max. And then you dunk them in a Rift, and it changes based on like the encounter. For the normal Dread encounter, does something different. But in this, Psylocke will have a
another,
shield.
Different objective. It's happening right now too.
Oh yeah, we got the Rifleman is a critical objective, and the thing with that is there will be clones of the Rifleman that spawn around the arena.
You gotta kill the right one, yeah.
But the clone's damage is real too. So
Yeah.
you gotta make sure that you're not in their line of sight.
Yeah.
All these critical objectives are meant to be pretty tough.
Yeah, they're not supposed to go easy on you.
Yeah, I mean
It's
they're
not called-
critical.
It's not the Sandbox of Elders, it's the Tomb,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, thank you.
They die.
Loving how
Yeah.
dynamic all this is too, because even like through our practice runs and all that, we've seen a bunch of different modifiers and different objectives
Yeah.
pop up.
This is if I was to describe what design's goal was for this in one word,
Yeah.
it would be variable. There's so much that can change from a given run. Is really trying to embody roguelite to like its fullest. You'll have different pathways every
Yeah.
time, which is like you'll go to different cell blocks in different orders.
Yeah.
You'll have different objectives that'll pop up, different critical objectives, and you'll have different modifiers and like all this stuff. And based on how well you do, the dynamic, like enemies are harder or easier based on how well you do. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And
So I guess 3
hope
is the
players,
max.
Like, I'm looking Idaho
Chess.
and Astacross, make a
Alright.
good guide for this.
Yeah.
Because this is a big one. But
Yeah.
I think that the more people play, they'll kind of understand the mode
Yeah.
a lot more. And there's a lot to offer, I think. And we're not going to show the treasure chamber, unfortunately, but that's kind of the whole thesis. We want everyone to get to that treasure chamber and
Yeah.
feel like however they played, they can get paid out based on how well they did.
Definitely.
And my goal was, even if you're at the worst level, if you're at Warden's Punishment ×3, you're able to get to the max rewards in 1 lap.
Yeah. Just might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah,
might
you
be
just
a
have to
little
be
bit
kind
more
of
stress.
dialed in.
Yeah.
It'll be the phrasing of like, oh, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Exactly.
You got to earn these
You
rewards.
gotta say it in Eric's voice though too.
Oh, I'm not.
The
We'll get
Warden
back
has
to that.
so many lines. I want to shout out Olivia on narrative for writing all the lines. He
Yeah.
has, I think, like, I don't even know. I'm not going to like make a number up right now, but he has a bunch, and
A lot,
they
yeah.
range from being, I'm very proud of you, to like, come on, man, you got to do a little better than that.
Yeah,
it kind of
honestly.
pushes you to kind of just want to make him proud.
Yeah,
because
he's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan is the father here. He's used to saying that to me.
I don't use the slang like you do.
That's it. I mean, I got that Skibbity Ohio riz, unfortunately. But
What was that?
moving right along. Actually, while we have a second here, Taylor, I wanted to go ahead back to you.
Yeah.
Actually, we've got some new artifact mods joining.
Oh,
us
is
time around
this
as well.
super?
Do you mind take a look and kind of walk through and see what we got here?
Uploading
So
files.
we've got like the last episode. Sorry. We have a new row unlocking in Act 2. These are all close quarters themed. So we've got a discount for all your melee mods, an improvement to emergency reinforcements, which I think is like you get a heal when you're low health. Got a way to get armor charge while you're surrounded. The boost there gives you more weapon handling and charge rate for swords.
And the boost comes from tonics, right?
Yeah, so there'll be new tonics.
Nice.
This, I think, is a variant of one of the older mods that is when you break a combatant shield, you get an orb of power. And then the boost on this actually is going to be really nice, which is picking up an orb of power or elemental pickup or tangle gives you a bit of health, which kind of replicates the leg armor mods, which you can like run both, or this can free you up a slot with that. I know like I'm running Stasis Hunter with the new helmet, and that's going to be pretty good for that. Yeah. And also just for staying alive and this activity, since it's kind of spicy.
Someone who's been a very punchy punch hunter these days with my Rorschach build, as I call it.
Yep.
Yeah, those there's a lot of mods in this row that I'm really looking forward to having.
Tomb of Elders activities are very claustrophobic. I think.
Arxx's deal increased increased damage to blinded targets.
Enemy density.
Yes, the density in Destiny is just getting there.
And then Arc Compounding, which I believe was maybe in an older artifact, which is Arc Sources deal more damage to blinded targets, which might actually pair really well with the changes that got done to Exteris, since the moths there will be blind for yourself.
I don't have it on, I'm sorry.
So it kind of gets to double dip with all the grenade.
Give me a second.
And to that end as well, quickly for anyone who may not read through every patch note necessarily, quick update, what were the changes you guys made to Exteris?
Yeah,
Tasking with the 46 months.
Ammo, but the main thing was
Welcome back.
Flattening out the projectile
46
behavior a bit, so it goes a little bit higher velocity, less gravity, so you can more easily hit stuff from range. And then if you get multiple direct hits quickly, you also get them off in the same way.
I see you with the Kangol on, man.
Higher difficulty content.
Hey, there you go.
It does some work if you have like one big target to just lay into.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get back to some gameplay here in a second, but really quickly before we move on as well, we were talking before the show, there are some changes happening to roaming supers as well. Yeah.
So you may have seen earlier we had our Warlock here on Stasis Lock, but one of the things we're doing in this Act 2 patch is we're buffing all the roaming supers. So for context, that's like your Storm Trance,
Spectral Blades,
where you're in the super for a while, versus the one-shot supers like Nova Bomb, Tether, etc. We're making a change so that the damage-based rechargers, specifically in PvE,
right? Yes, only in PvE, not PvE.
You'll be charged like through active combat. You'll be charging the roaming supers, but like 2 to 3 times faster than normal.
Yeah.
So it's like a pretty big swing with the kind of the idea that you want to move these a little bit closer to your neutral game.
Yeah.
Or something you feel more comfortable popping like on cooldown.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you need to keep it for when you kind of need it. You can use it pretty actively because you can get it back ready. Like relatively quickly.
Yeah, you use the I think a great analogy earlier of like it's not the hyper potion in your backpack you hold on to forever because you need
you want to try and break that habit. We understand it's like it's a hard habit to kick.
As someone again who uses the super basically only in the final phase of any boss fight.
Yep. It's years and years of Destiny have trained me very well to do that too. So it was interesting seeing in playtests because it took people a bit to kind of adapt to it, but once we got used to how quickly they're coming back, it was like a lot of fun because it opens up a lot more things too. Because like now there's a bunch of exotics that are tied to roaming supers that are just instantly more valuable without needing to change a whole lot of stuff.
Totally.
So it shakes things up. Get some options.
Yeah. It sounds enticing for like Onslaught, Coil, Tomb of Elders.
Yeah,
like now you have more
where you
stuff.
like the objective is speed. Versus just like burst damage or something.
Right. Yeah, and just upping that versatility factor, honestly, of all this, you know?
Yeah, just bringing some other stuff kind of back in the limelight.
Yeah, no, very excited. The build crafters out there in the audience, you've got your work cut out for you now. Go ahead and start adjusting those variables in your various spreadsheets and everything.
I was about to say the same thing. When you see the spreadsheets, when I eat lunch, I sometimes just put on a video and I'm like, let me see what the meta is.
Care about.
Dear Mactix, tell me what my build is today.
Then you have Bjorndal internally where it's like, what's my meta going to be in a month? What should I start saving now?
I will admit, I had also, when I got a sneak peek at Alethanim, I went home that day and built like a stasis loadout just in preparation for it, more or less. The stand-in was I can't remember the name of it. At any rate, but the exotic scout rifle.
Oh wait, what? Demon's Tale or
from Season of the Deep?
Oh, Wicked Implement.
Thank you, Wicked Implement. There we go. This is.
Sorry, I had to.
Thank you.
Scroll back my brain a bit.
I appreciate it. There's only one scout rifle in my brain, and it's just the dead man's tail. So
that's why we were just talking about that earlier. I went to that.
Yeah. All right, so we've obviously got a lot of great stuff arriving with the season in terms of the activity and weapons. But Dylan, I want to turn my attention solely to you. In addition to the cool content being added, you've got some notes prepared. I see. We've got some cool stuff to go ahead.
Have notes.
There it is. All right, everyone, get your memes going. We
sorry,
have got
Dano.
some cool stuff arriving in the form of.
The
let's go ahead and
cameraman
start at the
missed.
top. We're doing a partnership with Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about the cool stuff that we're going to have available through that partnership?
Maybe.
All right. Well, what if I ask that? Please, may you tell us?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I mean,
there we go. All
so
right.
you've seen a few things through gameplay. We have a bunch of cosmetics. Like the first thing you can see here is a wonderful set of ghosts. So we got your Cammy, Ryu, your Chun-Li. I wouldn't want my ghost to get into a fist fight with the with any of the
Ryu
ones,
one's
but that one
pretty
is, like,
fire though.
Everyone's pretty swole, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna punch every face of the witness.
There's a lot, so you better get to work.
Yeah. And then one of our players has actually been running around with a Blanca helmet, which is, so it's not one class that gets this. It's going to be Universal Ornament. The helmet goes on all characters, Hunter, Titan, Warlock, which is going to be great. And then with the roaming super changes, like, yeah, you can throw on your Titan Arc Super, you could throw on Storm Trance, and
Yeah.
go on
I do
full
like the
roleplay
Blanca
with
helm.
electricity, right?
I like
Yeah,
that.
honestly. Yeah, just really live up that fantasy of being Blanca after all this time. Maybe not as swole as him necessarily, but still, it's a step in the right direction.
Right.
For yourself.
Out of all of the choices,
We all know
Blanca.
Noah, that you're just way cooler than all of us. Okay.
he's
Stop rubbing it
punching
in.
a vending machine.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, this got a Shoryuken. Look at that.
So
Nice.
there are also 3 finishers. You might have seen those sprinkled in through the gameplay. Lightning Kick, Spinning Bird, Hadouken. I
What
can't do that.
are you doing over here, Dylan? Thank you.
Instant buy.
My attempt is worse than the joke, or
Significantly
Well,
better.
Instantly buying that one.
Yeah.
then we got some emotes that we can show off too, which are
Chun-Li kick.
Yeah, let's see here.
Nice.
Let's see what we can see here. If gameplay's on screen, anyway.
There
So,
we go.
There we go. Yes. All right. So we've got some emotes to show off as well. Let's start with the group emote here.
This one's
I love
time
the
to fight.
headband.
The health bars are so good.
And winner. God. And then we got a bonus level, bonus round.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah. It's not exactly a Honda Civic, but it's just as much fun to go ahead and beat
I
up.
want to do a shout out to every Guardian in the tower. 1997 Honda Civic Adept. I see you. I love you.
It's an important role to play, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. This is going to be my new Trials intro. I can already tell.
Right.
Honestly.
Then we actually have a segue on screen already with the armor that has been adorned.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and just rotate over there. With the arrival as well of this act, the Dawning is going to be making its return as well on December 10th, I believe.
Should Andy be
Yes, December 10th. Yeah, 10 a.m. right at reset. We'll have the Dawning coming back. The wonderful theme for our armor is going to be a celestial space dragon, which is really great. And then the team did a bunch of really good work on
looks so nice.
shader application. We've seen your feedback tons of times on, hey, I want my shaders to look pretty on all the armor.
I do
I
like
think
those
This
wings.
knocks it out of the park, especially with that
Yeah.
celestial star map in the wings. So
Yeah.
each class is going to get their dragon on. It's going to be a great time. These armor sets you can get for silver. or
They
gold. So if you've been
move.
doing all your Pathfinders, shout out to the team on the Pathfinder changes in the last episode launch. Yeah,
Actually
lots of
made a
bright dust,
huge
so
difference.
you can get these armors pretty quick. And then Dawning, yeah, we're going to have your favorite cookie baking activities coming back,
Right.
going around to all of your different vendors, giving them nice treats, giving some raisins to Eris, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Right.
There have been a couple of quality of life changes that I want to call out from the team. Let's see here. Let's see. Dark Frosting. So it's not just going to be Stasis anymore. Both of your Darkness subclasses, Strand and Stasis, are going to make that easier. And then for every Guardian out there that's been saying, hey, this specific ingredient is not dropping for me, we're upping the drop rates for all
Excellent.
those. So if
Thank
you're
you.
using Void, trying to get that null taste or whatever,
And we are.
you'll start getting that a little bit more frequently.
I never had any issue.
Stop it. Okay. Don't
Well,
leave it
yeah,
out.
you're the lucky one.
Yeah.
Built different.
Devly.
Classic Taylor. Geez. Yeah, the Deathloop. Yeah.
Dawning Ingrams are coming back. We have Focusing. You can actually earn double perks as well. So if you're trying to get the
Oh,
new
nice.
linear fusion rifle with some spicy rolls, it's going to be nice to earn a pathway to a couple in the columns. But if we could get a preview.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yeah. So Adaptive Burst, beautiful fusion rifle. There's already actually a pretty spicy roll on the screen right now. So on the left column, internally we call it Box Weaken.
Like box breathing.
What's the actual?
Withering gaze.
Withering Gaze. So aim down sights for a bit, and then you
left
can.
column specifically.
Oh, sorry,
is really
left.
Nice.
You can weaken your targets, and then in the right column, bait and switch. So amp up your damage, weaken your target. That's actually going to be a pretty spicy roll. Vice Singer 2 to get a bunch of your ammo back. But if you're actually worried about ammo, Envious Arsenal, it's one of the hottest perks of this season, or of this episode. Sorry, this act. Those are going to power.
Yeah, Envious Arsenal bait and switch on this thing is going to be really nuts.
Wild in my head, yeah, as well, honestly, so I'm excited to see this. Also, I think we were talking earlier, after being such big fans of Stormcaller, seeing another adaptive burst, linear fusion rifle on the map was pretty exciting, honestly. Storm Chaser, thank you, Storm Chaser, my mistake.
Yeah, shout
that
out.
was a test.
Storm-themed content in that game.
One of my buddies out in Midwest, he actually does some storm chasing as a hobby. So he's like, I need that gun. Love you,
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and then outside of the new weapon, there are going to be a bunch of reprised weapons with new roles. So your fusion rifle, pulse rifle, glaive, sword, and the machine gun. Big shout out to Lego LaFlash. He's my go-to content creator for fusion rifle rolls and Glacioclasm. You may see it in the
shout outs to my boy Lego.
There are going to be some more rolls.
After seeing you in that Bungie Foundation stream, just mopping the floor with people with fusions, I fully expect this to be added into your
full-on dad loadout, man. Pulse rifle, fusion rifle, let's go.
Nothing wrong with it.
We can't be friends anymore.
I mean, on Glacioclasm, there's going to be Lone Wolf closing time. So push out that range, tighten up that cone. It's going to be great.
Stop it right now. You're giving everyone ideas, Dylan. Okay.
Sorry, what was that?
It's tough enough to get to the lighthouse these days. You're giving everyone ideas, all right?
Yeah, I hope they come in and ruin my day. It makes for great clips. Yeah, and I mean, so strange coins are actually going to be added to the Dawning gifts as well.
Yeah.
So, like with Festival of the Lost, you could get the exotic class items.
Are they going to up the cap?
With Dawning, you're going to get higher drop rate of those strange coins from gifts.
Because
and then you can go to Zur, you can get your exotic class items or the Zur.
Definitely need a higher cap on strange coins. Otherwise, none of this matters.
Know, hey, you might not be going into strikes or Crucible and earning strange coins, so we're trying to spread the love a bit.
Nice. So we'll get what we deserve.
I keep setting you up for these, and then I just regret.
No, thank you. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do you a solid. Set you up for one. We have one more cool little thing actually. There's a new fashion set that's being added to Act 2 as well. The players have been pretty excited about it. They may have caught wind of it, but can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here, Dylan?
So, by the power of the moon, the team has done absolute beautiful work on some Doki Doki Destiny sets. We got your Warlock and your Titan there, showing off their fashion.
Doki Doki.
But yeah, I mean, this has been a set long time coming. We hope players enjoy throwing on some bows, some ribbons, and just having a fun time in fashion. If you want to go super black and be gothic cutesy set, that's going to be...
It's a great time for that, honestly.
Yeah, right.
This is available through Silver.
This is going to be Silver and Bright Dust.
And Bright Dust. Okay.
Yeah, if you're going in doing your Pathfinders, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll be available in Eververse.
Bright Dust gang.
It's gonna be a good time.
Live your best fashion life.
Right. Fashion is the true end game.
Destiny is going to be really dialing
Let's
it up.
see. Any other notes? Oh, I do want to give a shout out.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I mean, like at the top of the show, I was saying I'm an emissary of the team, but ultimately there are a ton of people that make cool content. Like we have Noah Taylor here right now, but big thank you to Mike Profeta, Joshua B, CJ Payne, Brad Fisher, Mercules, and Michelle on test as well for working on a bunch of these sandbox changes, a bunch of these Dawning goodies. Yeah. There are a ton of unsung heroes at Bungie, from IT to like the folks behind the stream and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's a group effort, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, it's nice. Let's make those thankless jobs ones that get a lot of thanks. Honestly, they deserve it for all the
I have a shout out also.
Please.
I want to shout out Keenan for everything you saw in Tomb of Elders and contest. Every arena, he had made it himself, and it is beautiful as we've seen. So I want to shout out Keenan and Olivia. I already shouted her out earlier, but I'll just do it again.
Never hurts. Yeah. Taylor, anyone you got for you?
Yeah, Vivian on the Scorn Weapons and that Origin perk.
Yeah.
Matt Dowling for all his work on the release.
Yeah.
And then Danny for something we might talk about in a bit.
Interesting.
We'll get to that.
What an interesting little tease that is.
Yeah. I mean, teams are stronger than heroes is one of the Bungie pillars.
Yeah.
And it's like, in the game, this is where you see it in full force because everything is made by so many hands.
Yeah, honestly, that's something I always say is nothing ever happens here in a vacuum, right? Like it takes a lot of people to come together. This coalescence of technical and artistic skills, like really make a lot of cool stuff happen. So, we'll obviously make sure and give additional thanks at the end, but to our compatriots at Bungie that are here even now, working hard.
The one's still there.
All the next chapters of Destiny. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
Do I have any other notes?
Do you have any other notes?
I think. Oh yeah, last thing. We've had a lot of players asking about Iron Banner.
Oh right, thank you.
Yeah, November 26th. So the week after the act launches, we'll have Iron Banner coming back with a new armor set and a couple new weapons that a certain somebody might have details on.
The week of Thanksgiving.
There's a sidearm. I remember we were talking about a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Stasis, rocket sidearm with choke clip. I think some
Oh,
people have already
man.
found that, but yeah, that'll be available soon
I just like all those words,
to
honestly. on
forever
their own.
sit in that slot.
Yeah, I cannot wait, honestly.
Mine is just the most
Archon's
beautiful
Thunder,
thing I've ever-
baby. Get your machine gun on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's been a while. Just even the look of that one, honestly, I'm smitten by. But
Yeah.
that nice classic solar
Reese
light machine gun is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but we'll have a ton of Twitch.
That'd be
between
fun to
now
go
and,
after.
End of December when we go dark, but we'll have a bunch of stuff on Iron Banner. Dawning, all the goodies in there. We have a bake-off event that's going to be going on in the game where you can earn some cosmetics and emblems.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we have a lot of good content in this act going through the end of the year.
Very nice. Excellent. Well, we also, as is the case with these streams, we're getting near the end of our agenda here for today. But as is the case typically, we're going to leave you with just one more thing as well. Now, as a quick heads up, the launch of Act 3, pardon me, is going to be on January 7th. So given that that's right after 2025 rolls around, many of us will be at home spending time with our families and loved ones, or if you're like me, sitting around just playing more Destiny. So as a result, we won't be actually having an Act 3 stream, so unmark those calendars for the stream, but make sure you log in that day, because with the arrival of Act 3, shortly after the arrival, or right when it launches, we'll defer that to a twit to make sure we get that date spot on, there's going to be a new exotic weapon quest arriving as well, and with it, a new exotic shotgun as well that we're going to actually take a look at here today. Now, the name of the quest we're not going to spoil for you because it has some story implications, but Taylor, I'd love to put you on the spot real quick. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yes, this is Slayer's Fang. It's a pretty unique slug shotgun, where it fires a single slug round that once it impacts a target or a surface, like environment, the slug shatters in a bunch of secondary projectiles. And then once you get a kill, you get true sight for a short period of time, and then the shattered projectiles will weaken targets that they hit, and they get a bit smarter with their tracking.
Very nice.
Cool. Love that the stream
Yeah,
crashed.
it's like a small void crystal. Like I think the theme is like the projectiles are like
Oh.
hitting surface and they shatter into bits.
Yeah.
We went down as a squad of 9. We're turned into void
Yep.
crystals and are now in an
I
exhaust
really
void.
am excited about this shotgun.
Turn everything and everyone into
It
weapons.
looks really good.
Guns or bullets or
Yeah.
something.
A worm.
But
A very sassy word
yeah.
at that. But
Also
It reminds me of a Borderlands gun
it's
because
not shell by shell.
yeah, was it the whole? So it's the
you
whole
should be able to ricochet it off of the ground
I can already like I'm
and
already-
attack things like Fibber
Falcon.
in
Yeah.
Borderlands.
Very curious if no backup plans Titans might happen.
Well, they will now.
Yeah. Also benefits from the shotgun changes that happen.
Yeah.
Night Worn
Reasonable
Sight.
range that uses.
Is it
Yeah.
craftable?
Yes. Yeah. So like kind of past couple quests we've done with this.
Okay,
like
so you can
Acquire
craft the
One, et cetera,
different roles.
be a bunch of things to do in the activity, intrinsic levels to unlock, and a handful
Look at that.
of quests that have some interesting interactions with how the gun works itself.
Very nice. All right, so the theory crafters in the audience are going to have plenty to sink their teeth into.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a few other maybe secret things to do.
Maybe secret things. All right, that's cool. Well, when
I like
they
maybe secrets.
maybe secrets are maybe cool.
I like
Things for you to find out.
Yeah, we'll wait for the YouTubers to make their Pepe Sylvia wall of all the different secrets that exist in there at some point. But for now, that actually leads us to the
Big
end
time
our
of
series
40.
events. My
Gordon,
favorite
thank you for the
is gone ahead
14
and concluded.
months.
So
Appreciate the
today we
continued
actually had a
support.
good chance to go ahead and dive in and take a look, pardon me, at a little bit of what's to arrive with Act 2 of episode Revenant. Huge thanks to Noah for walking us through the Contest of Elders and the new
great.
Team of Elders. Much appreciated. Taylor, thank you a ton for walking us through some of the weapons that are going to be arriving, along with some other sandbox changes that are going to be going along. with it.
Absolutely. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a great time. It's been, even just before the stream, sitting in here just going through it all has been so much fun. So thank you all for joining us. And of course, to Dylan for kind of walking us through a little bit of what's to come, including the stuff with the Dawning, the Street Fighter 6 partnership, the Doki Doki set that is no jokey jokey. Thank you, Dylan. We appreciate you taking the time.
No worries.
Had to get one more in.
Good.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Never
All right.
be free.
I'm excited to go home and get some hot dogs from Garden of Salvation that this man worked on. So I mean, sorry, Deep Sights. So
Tomato to hot dog. It's all right. It works out well.
What is going on?
We're all going mad in here. No. So thank you again to all you fine folks in the audience for joining us. To our fire team behind the scenes, obviously, Ashley, Justin, and Peyton, as always, for doing the heavy lifting. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us. To the incredible crew here in-house that has the distinct challenge of trying to make me look good Thank you all so much. It's a joy to be a part of something like this. And then, of course, ultimately, from all of us in here to all you out there, thank you for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate getting a chance to hang out with you and show off a little bit of what we've been working on. But in the meantime, make sure to go ahead and follow us at Destiny the Game on Twitter, Facebook, really your platform of choice. And otherwise, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
I just realized I had the game up in the background this entire time. So like you hear you hear the orbit. Well, at least that should be some interesting stuff for the holidays. I'm more surprised. I guess I'm not surprised that they're not going to have a stream for the next one. Even though I should be. January 7th is when like really cool stuff should be coming around though.